Good morning. This is Stephen Wynn with the Loving the Coronavirus program. It's part of our mission at Healing the Heart of America. And today is April 10th, 2020. And the sort of background theme for this morning's meditation is the lockdown. And so let's just play with that a little bit, just to find our energy on that particular topic. The thing about finding energy is, most of the time it's just energy, and the same energy can be found through many different topics. But some just seem to naturally lend themselves to being pushable buttons. So just take a moment, and what do you think? How do you feel about the lockdown? Most of us are thinking it's a necessary evil. Some of us, some of the introverts I'm sure, absolutely love it. And some it's just crushing. Just crushing. It's sort of a well-known theme among comedians about how many relationships are being trashed. And of course here we've had one gal calling in twice now with that whole thing happening. And when you feel it, it's not a matter of comedy, is it? And I saw on the news that another 5 million people became unemployed last week. They're on lockdown. They can't go to work. How do you think they're feeling? Someone sent me a statistic that said, I forget what the exact number was, but maybe 60 or 65% of the people nationwide can actually pay their rent the first 5 days of April. What's that going to do? Let's extend that out. We're locked down, and it creates a huge depression rivaling that of one of the 1930s. It takes us years to regain our former prosperity. There are people who say this cure is worse than the disease. How do you feel about that? What energies come up? On the one hand, you have definite, clear saving of lives by this lockdown. On the other hand, my understanding is suicide lines are quite busy right now. Drug deaths up. I don't know if these are real stats or not, but it's certainly believable. Check to see if you have a lack of clarity about what's the right thing to do here. I sort of lost, really wanting to figure it out, wanting to know what's right. We all want to do what's right. It gets very murky. It gets very murky. And how is it being shut up at home? I know I send out a lot of jokes about it, but how does it really feel? For some, I know it's great. For others, it's got to be devastating, boring, frustrating. So that's sort of the stirring of the pot this morning. Let's just now begin to move into our hearts, that we might find a way to move into love, to return to love, that wonderful phrase of Marianne Williamson. We might return to living in our hearts. And let's begin by saying good morning to our hearts, by putting our hands over our hearts, noticing as we start what state we are in. Always helpful to notice, experience consciously where we are, how we feel, what our energy level is, what our clarity level is. And just take this as a moment to say good morning to your heart. Good evening for those of you in far-off countries and different time zones. And just check to see if you can feel your heartbeat. And how's it feeling this morning? Strong and steady, light, fleeting, anxious, hammering. Every information is good information. And when you're ready, just let your hands down into your lap. And let's start moving into our posture for heart rhythm meditation. Feet on the floor, sitting up straight. Ideally, weight on the sits bones. And allow the head to sort of move from side to side until you get that sweet spot of alignment. And just notice your breath. Now we're saying good morning, good evening to our breath, to our lungs, to our whole respiratory system. Just notice your breathing. How easy, how free, which nostril is dominant. How easy is the inhale, how easy is the exhale, how long, how quick, how slow. And perhaps we could take a moment to just appreciate our lungs a little bit here. These incredible lungs, organs, that are a really tender interface with our environment. We take the environment into our lungs. We exhale, bringing out very precious carbon dioxide for all the plants to feed on, plants and the trees. Could we allow our lungs to be our connection to the air element? It's like our feet planted firmly, cleanly on the ground are a connection to the earth element. Next week we'll start playing with all the elements in terms of this virus. It's very powerful to meditate with elements. And just love our lungs a little bit more. How faithfully they have served us all the many years of our life. And now let's love our lungs a little bit more by using them more fully, more deeply. Let's begin with a full exhale and a full inhale. And when we exhale, pull the abdominal muscles all the way back towards the spine. Go ahead, tighten them up. It's a nice exercise. And exhale, just slowly, steadily let those muscles go. Deep abdominal breathing. And again, notice your experience with very full breathing. Bringing all that prana, all that life force into our bodies. Letting it course, being absorbed by the lungs. Taken through the blood, through every part of our body. What's your experience? How different is it? What's your level of clarity become? Your level of energy? Your level of wakefulness? And now, let's move into this portion of heart rhythm meditation where we connect the rhythm of our breathing with the rhythm of our heartbeat. So I begin to inhale to the count of 8 heartbeats, exhale to the count 8 heartbeats. It could be 6 or 10, 12, 4, whatever's right for you. We want it to be a comfortable breath. And over time, we want to allow it to get longer and deeper. But there's an allowing there. There's not a forcing. So if you find that you can go out to 10 breaths very easily, do that. And after a few breaths, if it's difficult, come back to 8. We're loving our breath. We're loving our lungs. That's how we allow it to expand. It really does expand our lung capacity, which is critical for pneumonia, critical for this virus, preventing, dealing with it. And of course, I always say if you can't feel your heartbeat, it's just fine. Just put your hand on your pulse, on your wrist, feel it, the pulse there, or feel it in your neck, and use that to count. Hold a breath. It can really help you feel your heartbeat. Or simply count. Steady count. It's okay. All of this internal awareness grows incrementally. Bit by bit, bit by bit, bit by bit. We move into this inner world. Now, 8 heartbeats in, 8 heartbeats out. welcoming our name of our heartbeat if you have one. And I'll just let everyone breathe quietly for a minute or two. And again, notice what happens as we connect to the rhythm of life, the rhythm of creation, the pulsing of the electromagnetic body of the earth. How balanced do you feel? How present do you feel? How quiet do you feel? Whatever you feel, it's perfect. Just perfect. Believe me, it's perfect. Even if you feel anxiety coming up, it's perfect. It's what should be coming up right now for you. Well, not necessarily anxiety. Whatever's coming up is what's right for you in the moment. And so during the first 4 days of this week, we've expanded into breathing directly into our heart. We added the name of the heart. We went to the swinging breath. Why wasn't that sweet yesterday? Into the back, out to the front. Into the front, out to the back like that. All wonderful breaths that you're free to use whenever your intuition calls for it, whenever your heart calls for it. This morning I'd like to teach another breath, sometimes called the diamond breath, more often called the square breath. And I'm teaching it because it's such an incredible tool to develop our lung capacity. An incredible tool for the prevention of any virus attacking us, our respiratory system. An incredible practice for the health of the respiratory system. So what it is we do the basic heart rhythm meditation. We're always connected to our heart in this. We would inhale to the count of 8 heartbeats. I'm going to do 6 just as a beginning. We're going to inhale to the count of 6 heartbeats, filling the abdominal up, not fully, just comfortably. And then we'll hold it for 12 heartbeats. 12 counts is fine. And then exhale for 6 heartbeats. And then immediately inhale for 6 heartbeats. Hold for 12 heartbeats. Exhale for 6 heartbeats. So I'll walk everyone through this. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hold, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Inhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Exhale, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So just continue with that pattern. Inhaling 6, 8, 10, 4. Holding twice the amount of the inhale we hold. And then exhale, half that amount again. The same amount as the inhale. Inhale, and then double that for the hold. It's helpful not to inhale too much. If you have such a full breath, you may cough as you're holding. So just play with that. It's more important that you have an easy rhythm than it is that you hold your breath a long time. Work on the rhythm till that's comfortable. And then expand, if you're used to doing 8, 8, 16, 8, 10, 20, 10. And just play with that for a few minutes on your own. Whenever we learn a new breathing practice, there's always a period of learning just mastering the basic skills. So be gentle with yourself. But I'll bet most of you had no difficulty with that. So just check to see what that did to your internal state. What you will discover over time is that despite its simplicity, it's an astounding process that will bring you, it's like this basic fundamental practice that you can come back to again and again. And for me, it just always delivers an extraordinary experience. While I say that the heart rhythm meditation has its roots in the Desert Fathers and the Desert Mothers, this particular practice comes both from the Sufi and the yogic traditions. There are many versions of it. It's just a well-practiced, well-studied, powerful tool. The main trick is not to force the hold, just to be gentle and allow the lungs to expand on their own. So now let's again take this new platform that we have as a vehicle for expanding our energetic body. So let's just breathe, pulling the energy into our hearts, front or back, it's your choice. Do the swinging breath here if you want. It's not really what I'm looking for, but if it calls to you, do it. Just inhale, fill up the heart with energy, then exhale. Allow that energetic body to start to expand. Inhale. Count of 8, count of 10, count of 6, whatever it is. Exhale. Expand out the energetic body. When we transcend, we tend to go deep within. When we work with, that's working with consciousness. When we work with energy, we can do that also, but quite often it's more useful to expand the energetic body, to encompass all of creation. So to whatever degree you can, inhale into our hearts, exhale, expand that energetic body out. Fill the room you're in and just enjoy it, the expansive state of your energetic body. Inhale, and again, when we exhale, expand it out further. Move it out a big chunk. Fill your city, fill your state. Inhale, fill your country. We all have deep karma with our countries. That's why we're born here. Go ahead, this time expand out and let that energetic body just fill the earth. Expand around the circle of the earth. Perhaps let your energy penetrate deep into the center of the earth. A lot goes on in the center of the earth, energetically. Could you allow yourself to be, in some small way, the energetic body of the earth? To to be in alignment with it. Inhale again. Fill the energy with heart, and let's expand it out to fill the solar system, the sun, the moon, the planets, the asteroid belt. And on our next exhale, let's expand to fill this vast Milky Way, this incredible galaxy that is one of innumerable galaxies. Let's just expand out again to the far reaches of all the galaxies, all the universes. Notice how thin we become. And notice there's never quite a boundary. There's always more and more and more. Could you allow that vastness to become your home? To feel at home in every part of the vastness of creation. All the while breathing into the heart, feeling the heartbeat, exploring the vast, vast reaches of creation. A fully heart-centered being in total alignment with the universal heart. Would it just be okay on the level of intention for us to be in complete alignment with the majesty of creation, the vastness of the universal heart, the vastness of beingness? Our hearts are the center points of creation. Our heart is one with the universal heart. Could you allow everyone's heart to be the center point of their creation? And that all of our hearts are connected in this vast network of hearts that we call the universal heart. And allow the sweetness of harmony, the sweetness of love, the sweetness of beauty to permeate this vastness. It's there already. We can just enliven it. All these divine qualities of the heart are here residing in this universal heart. Could we just love them for their service, for their divinity, for their beauty, for their power, for their wisdom? And from this universal place of the heart, could we once again welcome and greet the coronavirus? Could we greet it with peace at this level of life? Can we acknowledge that everything that exists at this level of life is a pure emanation of the one being, the one presence, the one heart? and perhaps becomes distorted, or not, as that energy shifts into grosser and grosser forms. But at this level, could we open our hearts to this virus? And just for our own individual sake, for whatever health condition we might have, could we welcome that into this altar of our universal heart? And could we greet that with peace? Whatever the challenge or whatever disease you fear the most, here at this deep level, there might be a little fear, but probably not much. If it is, could you just love it? Whatever comes up now is a very deep way to release it, to heal it. Whatever resistance you have, whatever not liking you have, to whatever is troubling you physically, could you just allow yourself to greet it with peace? Thank it for its contribution to your life. Because certainly, at a deep level, we welcomed it in, rather than letting it pass by. Could you love that deepest level of yourself that guides your spiritual destiny? You might as well love it. It's a smart thing to do. And make sure we're in our hearts still, our hearts beating. And let's do it from right here. Let's move into these issues that come up about the lockdown. From this place deep within your heart, how do you feel about the lockdown now? How significant is it? And could you just think back to what you were feeling before? That's why we do it then. What was bothering you then? Can you welcome it into your heart now and transform it into love, into harmony, into beauty, into peace, into wisdom, into power, whatever quality you want in your life? How did you feel about being ordered to stay home, losing your job because of it, or your neighbors losing their jobs because of it? How did you feel? Whatever comes up for you, can you greet that feeling with love? Go back to the memory of it, because the energy's there. If you're not feeling it now, you're just not accessing it. You're accessing your heart instead. A beautiful thing, believe me. How do you feel being stuck at home, having to keep this social distance business? The awkwardness, even when you do go out to go shopping, of not passing someone in the grocery aisle. the discomfort of a mask. Perhaps there's this feeling of, what a lot of trouble. What a lot of work. Why do I have to do that? Why can't I just live my life? And welcome up that feeling. Could you just love the fact that you can have feelings? It's an extraordinary act of creation. To take energy and stamp a flavor on it. That's what we call a feeling. We modify it. We slightly sign it, so to speak, with a certain energetic signature. The basic stuff of energy is all the same. It's how we label the file, so to speak. I look forward to being locked up, locked down, in my house under house arrest. Well, if you don't have a resounding yes to that, then I found some resistance. Could you welcome up that resistance and let that go? I look forward to seeing other people cheating on this lockdown. And check to see if there's a sense of outrage with that. How could they? I wish people could just follow the rules. They're there for our own good. If any of this mind chatter is coming up for you, could you just welcome it, love it? Create a new habit of loving your thoughts, no matter what energy comes with them. And could we let go of judging people who are ignoring the lockdown? They're certainly putting themselves at risk, correct? And others. And that's where the judgment comes in. But does judging them change their behavior? I don't think so. Could we let go of judging them some more? And more. And more. And just discriminate. Will these people who are breaking all the rules, will they come to our way of thinking by our condemning them or by our loving them? Which will draw them to us? It's pretty obvious. Condemning will push them away. Loving will draw them in. Would it be okay with us if we became all loving beings? That our new habit is love. We just love. Whoever shows up, however they show up. It doesn't mean on the physical level of life we don't use our common sense. You know, we protect ourselves. Wear a mask. Keep your distance. But energetically, would you rather be condemning or would you rather be loving? I'd say it's a no-brainer, but we want it to come from the heart. Which would your heart prefer to do? To judge or to love? And I think we all know the answer to that one. Could we allow our energetic body to be run from the heart? Could we allow our feeling world to reflect the deep desires of the heart, the deep mission imprinted in the heart for each one of us? And we just say yes to that. Yes, I could allow that. Yes, that's my intention. And just check for a moment. How would your experience of this pandemic be if you were loving everyone involved with it, including the virus itself? How would it feel if this were a love fest? We wake up wondering what new and incredible things are going to happen today. And check to see the resistance that comes up with this. What came up for me was one of these emails about thousands of people standing in line to get food. How do I love that? And maybe it's a totally reasonable reaction to feel a pinch with that. Why not? The pinch is there. Could we love that reaction? And would it be okay with us for us to feel that pinch all the while fully established in our heart? And it becomes one of many, a vast array of experiences of the heart. Because along with that pinch, really it's the pinch of compassion. There is compassion. There's love, there's power, there's wisdom. Could we allow our hearts to embrace the full spectrum of the human experience? All the while firmly established in the deep love within our hearts, never denying any part of life. Could we again come back to loving every part of this pandemic, whatever the reason, whatever the design for people standing in line for food? Could we just open our hearts and fill that picture with love? Because when we fill it with dread and dislike, we feed it. We hold it there. The invitation is to love it and free it so it can change and shift. Let's come back. Just check whatever resistance, whatever things you don't like to see, the touching, really horrific stories of the emergency rooms, of the intensive care rooms, the nurses not trained for ICU and working in ICU, the bruises from the masks on their faces, their sense of helplessness and hopelessness when they don't have the supplies that they need, could you just welcome these feelings in, love them even more, and be in your heart established in that field of universal love. And fill them all with love. I can feel internally a kind of a wince when I think about these nurses. Ah, but does that wince help them as much as filling them with a divine quality, like love, like compassion? I think it's pretty obvious. We are far more powerful functioning at this deep level of the heart than we are in engaging our own fears, our own resistance. So with that, let's come into our hearts. If we lost the beat of our heart, come back to it. Just feel it right now. Even if you need to feel your pulse, it's good to reconnect. Could we thank all the energies that have come up? Thank all the players in this world, playing their role perfectly, so that we may move into the perfection of our beingness, of our hearts. Maybe feel your feet firmly planted on the floor. And when you're comfortable, just open your eyes. Look around the room. Orient yourself to the ordinary experience of life. So this ends our formal meditation portion of the class. Thank you for joining for this. If you can stay, please do. I understand if you have to leave.